This presentation will compare and contrast the desktop, web, and mobile platforms of Amazon.com as a business organization, National Public Radio as a news media, and Facebook as social media. We'll start with Amazon.com. Here's a look at Amazon.com's home page, and this is the top of their website, top of their home page, and you can see that there's a lot going on this page. It has a complete list of departments on the left. On the right hand side of the page you see several display ads, and much of the page is taken up by a bunch of lists, including lists of what other customers are looking at, digital camera bestsellers, list of suggestions for me based on my recent browsing history, and there's also some Mother's Day suggestions. And at the bottom of the page there is an entire a whole raft of links for various purposes. And here's a look at the bottom of the page. You can see the list based on my recent history and also several of the links. If you search or browse for a particular item and then click on that product page for that item, this is what you're likely to see. This is the top of the page, and again you can see a page that has a lot of information, including purchasing information on the right, a list of features, and so on. Near the bottom of most product pages you'll see customer reviews, and this is one of several opportunities there are for engagement, for user engagement on Amazon's website. You can read other people's reviews or submit a review of your own here. Another place on Amazon where the user can get engaged is various forums. Here's an example of the forum in the music department, and you can see a number of threads that have been started here, and some of them have a lot of responses. Some of them are just getting underway. And here's an example of Amazon's mobile platforms. On the left is a page on their mobile website. On the right is the home page on their mobile app. You see that they look pretty similar in some ways. There's a search box near the top. The mobile web page has a banner ad, but one difference is in the bottom. The mobile web on the left again has several typical web things, web buttons for navigation or for bookmarking or such. The right, the app on the right has a different set of buttons that lets you navigate their app quite effectively. One difference in the two is that for the mobile web to see the entire list of selections and navigation options around the site, you have to scroll down the page, but on the right, the app, everything you see is right there and fits on one screen. Navigation, you can navigate the site by using the buttons that are always on the bottom of the screen on that black band. This is what the results of a search query look like. On the left again is the mobile website, on the right is the app, and you'll see that the app makes more efficient use of space. You can see 3 items at the top of the search list compared to 1 on the mobile web. And if you go to a product page, if you click on one of the items on your search and go to a product page, this is a comparison of what they look like. Again, on the web, on the left, the mobile website has a bit of information, but not as much as you can see on one screen. On the app, on the right-hand side, you see several buttons, arrows there on the right hand on the app that allow pop-out features with more information as well. On the mobile web you have to scroll down to see more information. All in all, the app is a better experience for users because of this reason. Amazon has taken care to scale everything down for the mobile screen. Largely you can click and see pop-outs with more information instead of having to scroll down the screen. Who is Amazon's intended audience? Well, I think they would like to appeal to all users on mobile platforms. As you can see from this graphic in Mary Meeker's report on 2012 Internet Trends, more and more people are shopping online. And Amazon's intended audience also includes me. The app has personalized recommendations just like the desktop website that are geared toward my browsing history. There's no sign, I think, that Amazon is trying to appeal to any narrow segment of the audience. I think they're trying to be as broad as possible. And I think there's room for growth when you talk about shopping apps on mobile platforms. Shopping from mobile platforms is growing, but the apps, as you can see in the red circle here, are still fairly low on the list of different types of apps that people like to get. So I think Amazon is trying to anticipate future growth and encourage it on mobile platforms. I would also note that the Amazon's mobile web page prominently displays a link to download their app, and I think they want to encourage people in that direction. So is the user interface effective? Well, here you see examples of all three different ones, and I think it is effective. One-click buying is possible on all three of these platforms. The app makes searching and buying just as easy as the desktop website in most cases. The mobile website does require more scrolling than the app. Browsing, however, for example, looking through a product category or checking new music or something like that, is easiest on the desktop platform, slightly harder on the app, and most difficult on the mobile website, mainly because of the small screen size. A pretty handy new feature is Amazon's Scan It, Snap It app. I'm sorry, it's part of their mobile app actually. It can shoot a photo of an item in a store or scan the barcode and allow you to compare prices. I tried it out. I couldn't get the Snap It feature to work very well. That's the one where you use your iPhone camera. I shot pictures of a camera, a DVD, a CD, and a book, which was Clay Shirky's Here Comes Everybody, and Amazon didn't recognize any of them. But I scanned the barcode of the DVD and book, and that worked just fine. If this works, this really can give the mobile app a real advantage in shopping. So I would say that Amazon's business model consists of, number one, being where the customers are, which is increasingly on mobile platforms. Number two, to sell both products and sell ads. Amazon has started selling product advertisements that it displays on its websites, even for manufacturers or other retailers. BusinessInsider.com has an article on their website that said the Amazon model is characterized by a long-term worldview, unmatched customer service, and an innovative network of warehouses that operate by the principle of chaotic storage. I see several keys to success for Amazon. They've made an excellent start on the mobile app, especially by skillfully placing pop-out menus on the main pages and individual product pages. They should, however, look for ways to make the app more similar to the desktop experience. One example is browsing books and music, products like this. On the app, the only way to do it is by the most popular items. But I want to see the new releases in music and books, and I can't find a way to do that yet on the app, so I think they need to work on that. They should also work on fixing the Snap It search feature so that the camera works better in identifying products. Next up is Facebook. And here's a look at Facebook's top of their homepage on the desktop website. You see the search box at the top, the home button, the tool button with that has account settings, privacy settings, and so on. On the left are the favorites, groups, apps, and pages down that column. The center is the timeline. Next to the timeline are display ads, and on the right are a list of friends who you could chat with at that particular time. This is the look at Facebook's mobile website on the left before you log in and on the right after you log in. And this is what the Facebook's mobile app looks like. It's a little simpler. In the header, both the mobile web and the app have icons for user settings, friend requests, messages, notifications, similar to the desktop web. However, you can see there's no room for a cover photo to take up any of that space. In the main part of the screen, the timeline occupies most of this. Status, as I was saying, the status and photo and check-in buttons are just below the top bar, always on the screen. The mobile user interfaces don't have any display ads like the desktop site does. However, suggested posts that are sponsored appear in the timeline like the desktop website, and the Facebook Chief Operating Officer and investor said in an article in CNET that they are focused on increasing ads in the news feed on the Facebook mobile apps. Who is Facebook's intended audience? Well, like Amazon, I think they're trying to keep up with the mass migration to mobile platforms. An article on CNET.com notes that there is no doubt that mobile is Facebook's future, with a significant number of its users accessing the site via smartphones or tablets. An article in TechCrunch.com notes that Facebook had 604 million mobile users at the end of the third quarter in 2012, and that is their total number of users is about 1 billion, so that's a significant number. Let's look at Facebook's business model. The company had an IPO in May of 2012 and they went public, and they have greatly increased the number of ads they've been running on their site in an attempt to generate revenue. On the left you see the display ads that I mentioned on the desktop website, and they are just to the right of the news feed. You see several ads there. On the right is a look at what an ad in the news feed looks like on the mobile app. It looks like just another item from maybe somebody you're following, but under the name of the organization you see the word sponsored, and that signals that it's an app. I'm sorry, that signals that it's an ad. 1 million users are a huge potential market for Facebook, and as I mentioned, the article on CNET notes that the company is committed to putting ads in the newsfeed on its mobile platforms. Another article on eMarketer.com says that Facebook was the #2 mobile ad publisher in the country in 2012 with 9.5% of mobile ad revenues. The graph on the left shows how the black bars show that ad revenues have been increasing and are expected to continue to increase as the years go by, increase greatly, although the red line indicates that the rate of growth won't keep up with what it has been in the past year or two. However, when it comes to display ads, Facebook is the tops. They're even ahead of Google, which is overall the leader in mobile ads. When it comes to just display ads, Facebook in 2012 had 21% of all display ads on mobile platforms, and this is pretty significant. However, there are some critics to Facebook's strategy. An article on Forbes' website calls their display ads lame, saying that they look a lot like spam, and noticing they don't seem to be tied to any particular user behavior or user preferences. And an article on Barron's website quotes an analyst who says that Facebook's new dark posts might signal a sign of desperation from the social media organization. I believe that keys to success for Facebook are to continue to follow its users to mobile platform as they have been doing, to address these concerns I just mentioned over the relevance of their ads and how successful their ads are at targeting users according to their preferences and their likes, and also to find ad formats to supplement the display ads that they've been putting, the newsfeed ads that they're putting on their mobile platforms. Some possibilities for mobile include coupons, specials, and things such as this that are tied to location. Something to watch for Facebook that they have just released is called Facebook Home. Facebook calls it a family of apps which basically takes over your smartphone's home screen and displays new messages and things like that as soon as you turn your phone on. It'll be interesting to see how Facebook Home figures into the company's future. There is a review of Facebook Home at businessinsider.com as well. The news media that I followed is National Public Radio at npr.org. And here's a look at their desktop website homepage. Like the other two sites I followed, the homepage is very large and features an awful lot of information, but at the same time it's fairly well organized. So if you have a screen that's large enough to display all this information well, you don't have too much trouble navigating around the page. This is a look at the bottom half of the same page, and again you see a lot of those links, a lot of color, a lot intended to draw your attention and guide you around the page and help you find anything you might want at that website. If you click on an individual story on the NPR website, the desktop website, this is what it might look like. You see a fairly large photo, a link to listen to the audio version of the story, and scrolling further down you would see text and an opportunity for online discussions. This is what NPR offers as a way of getting engaged with the other users of the website. Most of the stories have a comment section at the bottom. It's moderated by NPR, and you can log in and leave comments and respond to other people's comments. There are also buttons to share the story on social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, or email it. Here's a look at NPR's mobile website on the left and their app on the right. Again, you'll see that both have banner ads. Both look somewhat similar in the main body, but the app has its own unique set of navigation buttons across the bottom of the screen. And here's an example of what a story looks like on NPR's mobile app. This is the same story we looked at just a minute ago on the desktop website, and you can see that it has a smaller photo. It's got text, a button where you can listen to the audio version, and you can also add it to your playlist or share it to social media. Let's look a little bit more at the mobile web user interface. First, at the top is the page header. Beneath that, a banner ad. Buttons for top stories, more stories, and listening to the newscast. And most of the screen is taken up by a list of the day's top stories. The bottom of the page, if you were to scroll on down through the list of stories, you'll see buttons to advance through more screens. You can do a lot of scrolling on the mobile web if you're inclined to do that. And below that are buttons for news, program stations, my playlist, and contact. You can search for stories, and of course the mobile website will allow you to download a mobile app. And let's look at the user interface for NPR's app. Again, at the top you see buttons for top stories, topics, and newscast. The main body of the screen contains a list of the top stories. It's a shorter list than on their mobile website, however. And the footer bar again contains that unique navigation to the app, which has news, programs, stations, a playlist, and a button for more. If you click on the Topics button in the top of the mobile app page, you get a list of news categories, and here are most of the categories on that list. If you were to click on the World category for stories, you'd see a list of stories similar to this. You've got the headline, you've got the photos, and in some cases an icon to listen to an audio version. In my opinion, the NPR mobile app has the edge over the mobile website for ease of use because it generally requires less scrolling. It makes more use, again, of hidden pop-out menus that allow you to select some of the features. So who is NPR's intended audience? Well, NPR statistics indicate that their online audience is younger than their over-the-air audience and their broadcast audience. The median age of online is 40 compared to 49 years old for on-air audience. And also that their audience size is distributed among the platforms. 26 million weekly listeners on air, 17.2 million at npr.org, and 24.7 million download their podcasts monthly. There aren't any mobile statistics yet. So NPR stats indicate overlap across their platforms. 12% of the on-air audience use npr.org. 18% of the npr.org users listen to on-air in the past week. 66% of podcasters listen to NPR on the air in the past week. In my opinion, NPR intends for its mobile app to fit into a sequential pattern of use, similar to what was described in the Google report, The Multi-Screen World. Only in this instance, the other screen is not actually a screen, but it's actually a radio in your car or home. Another finding in this Google report was that people use PCs, in this case I think it would be radios, to keep informed, and mobile devices to keep connected. And this makes sense in light of the Pew Research Center's State of the News Media 2013 report, which found that last year more respondents got news online or from a mobile device than the year before, 39% compared to 34% prior to that. Pew says the rapid growth of mobile is a key factor driving the move to digital news. And it says that 45% of adults own a smartphone today, up from 35% in May 2011. If we looked at NPR's business model, you see that their main two sources of revenue, the largest chunks out of this particular pie graph, are corporate sponsorships and station programming fees. So they don't depend on their website or mobile app to actually generate revenue, rather to build their audience, to carry out its mission, and hopefully then to continue to receive revenue from these existing sources, especially those two largest sources. To the extent that the mobile app succeeds in helping NPR carry out its mission, it protects the organization's ability to generate revenue. NPR has really good content and a loyal audience, but I think to survive in today's digital multi-platform news environment, they need to have a mobile presence to keep existing audiences and to find new audience. If they want to attract younger audiences, and this is, I think, a key to their success, they should also consider placing more emphasis on breaking news, especially on the mobile app. Currently, NPR doesn't focus heavily on breaking news. Its traditional focus has been longer stories that provide context and perspective. I think they should also continue to look for ways to combine mobile platforms and social media. Currently, you can share stories from the mobile app on Twitter and Facebook. Also, the Pew report notes that audiences continue to consume more news through social media than they did before, and this points out the importance of making it possible to share news in this way. And the acceleration is not just among the young, but among all age groups. I'd like to wrap up my discussion with a brief look at some of the common threads that I noticed. First of all, mobile apps tend to use Meta's laws of simplicity, especially Law 1, reduce, and they do this largely by putting fewer elements on their mobile screen and also by hiding some and making them available on pop-out menus. And of course, Law 2, organize. Careful categorization of an app's functions is important if they're going to make the mobile apps user-friendly. Another common thread, the apps all tended to be well designed and easy to use, and their mobile websites steered users toward the apps. Mobile websites in general were adequate, but definitely came in behind the desktop websites and the apps in terms of user friendliness and usability. The Amazon mobile app could stand independently. If this were the only way you were to access Amazon, it probably would be more successful than the other two organizations in becoming a totally mobile place. It has the potential to allow customers to search, compare products, and make the purchase all from a mobile platform. Many users, I think, also would find the Facebook app acceptable by itself. Facebook seems to anticipate that mobile will be the future with the introduction of Facebook Home. Facebook is selling ads, but some analysts aren't sold on its future revenue stream. I think this will be something to keep an eye on. And finally, NPR's mobile app will likely continue to fit best as part of a multi-screen environment. It won't likely stand on its own as successfully as the other two might. This is the end of my report. I want to thank you for your suggestions for improving it, and thank you for listening.